Now that you have your developer org created and you're logged in, we are now ready to actually enable our digital experiences and get ready to start setting it up. So make sure you're in setup. If not, again, you'll click your little gear icon and go into setup so that it jumps you to this screen. And again, you can type community, but I would just get in the habit of typing digital experiences since that's the new naming for it. And notice we got to go to settings. We only have a settings option. It's not enabled, so we need to click it and save and say OK. And this is going to go ahead and enable our digital experience in our org. Once it's done, you're going to go ahead and say open. And notice now it says you've now created a new experience. You can now create a new Experience Cloud site. So before we do that, we need to talk about your domain name. Now, if you have an older version of Salesforce, we suggest that you change over to enhanced domains. If it's a newer org or you're up to date on all of your, I think it's summer of 23, this is going to be required, where you go to My Domain and you have to check this button to say Use Enhanced Domains. I'm going to go back to my digital experiences. And again, now we're going to go ahead and click New, because we want to create a new site. And here's where you have to name your site. What do you want to call it? And actually, before we name it, we need to choose a template. So there's different kinds of templates that come pre-built from Salesforce. And you can see, like, this is a microsite, Lightning Web, build your own, business to commerce, the Help Center, customer account portal, customer service. So these are templates that are geared to what do you want your site to do. The other thing I want to point out is notice if there's a lightning bolt in the upper right hand corner, that means it will work with Lightning Experience. Some of these, like the Salesforce tabs and Visual Force, these are going to take some programming, and so I'm not actually going to go through that now because you're going to have to know how to program to get some of this stuff to work. So again, the Help Center is more about people that are creating cases, they need help with something, and you have a bunch of documentation built. Your customer account portal is where they can log in, do a knowledge base, look at different kinds of records based on their account. Customer service, again, if you're doing some kind of customer service for your clients. And you can browse by different categories, which again, it just breaks them down to just whatever fits that category. Or again, you can go back to all. For ours, we're going to go ahead and choose the customer account portal. And again, when you click on it, you can read a little bit more about it, see the features of things that you can do with it once you create this portfolio or your digital experience site. Once you create or clicked whatever template you want, we're going to hit and say get started. Now you have to name it. So again, what do you want to call? Again, notice it says, don't worry, you can always change the name later. So I'm just going to call it Christy's Portfolio. You can create like subfolders, subdomains for all of this. If you're going to be creating more than one site, then you might want to start breaking this out, or if you have different types of sites. So my company that I work for, they actually have two different ones. One is what they call our customer site, and all the customers that they have the ability to log in and see different reports and do different things. And then the other one is not really, I mean, it's for the customer, but you don't log in. It's more like a guest account where they just go to this particular site and they fill out forms to say, hey, I need this, or I'm looking for that. So for now, we can just leave it blank and just go with the name that we have. So I'm going to go ahead and click Create. And again, we just have to sit and wait for it to finish getting set up. Once it's completely set up, you're going to get here to the My Workspace site where you're going to see all the different options of things that you can do within your portfolio. Before we start actually customizing our portfolio, there's a couple other things that we know. We've already said we want to put a knowledge base within here so the customers can go and search for knowledge articles. We need to make sure all of that is set up in our org so that we have the ability to do that. So I'm just going to jump back over here and let's type in knowledge. Sorry, I'm on the setup tab and I need to be on service setup in order for us to be able to see the knowledge stuff. And since it won't search for it, I can see it right here and click on it. And we're going to say start. And make sure that your name is selected. Go ahead and say next. And then let's go ahead and just type in a data category group of training. And then let's do flows. We'd add another one if we wanted to talk about validation rules. You just whatever types of training materials and categories that you want to create. And you can always come back later and add some. We'll go ahead and just do those two for now. Go ahead and say next. And we're not going to create articles or do anything right now, so we're going to go ahead and click finish. Now we also need to make sure that they have access. So we need to look, again, while we're under the service setup, we're going to look at permission sets. Notice we have this knowledge LSF permission set. So if we click on the name of it, you can look at the app permissions. So we're going to click right here where it says app permissions. And we need to edit this and go down to the knowledge management section right here. And we need to make sure that they can view articles, they can archive, and just in case we forget, make sure that they can view draft and view archived. And then you got to decide, you can have internal articles and external articles. Do you want your internal articles to be able to be seen by your customers and clients? Some people do, some people don't. If you do, make sure that you check that button. And now we'll go ahead and scroll back to the top and save. And we definitely want to save that again. We want to make sure that those permissions are there. So now that we have permissions to create that, we're not actually, again, we're not going to create any articles. We'll do that in a different video. But for now, we are ready to actually start setting up our portfolio. So let's go back to Workspaces. Again, you can go in and build things from here. You can do moderation if you have chatter enabled. You can organize your collection for your content. Again, you can gamify, give people badges and do a point system. There's specific reports that you can watch to see how many people are using this particular site, how engaged they are. The administration is again where we can go and set up different settings, and then a guided setup is how to have the system walk you through how to set things up. And again, down here you can see some of the new features that are coming and get some help. we're ready again, I said, to start building. So you can click on Builder, and it's going to launch your Experience Builder. It's always going to pop up this little guide to try and help you through step by step on how to learn how to navigate through Experience Builder. You can go ahead and click Next and go through it if you want, or you can just hit the X to close out of it. So based on the template that we chose, this is the basic default data that just drops in along with the navigation menu. So we're going to start talking about, okay, we want different pages, and you have to build your pages before you can add them to your navigation menu or put them anywhere. So again, these are like website pages that you're building. So we're going to start, and we're going to do the About Me page. We'll build all of our pages, and then we'll kind of go back and talk through some of this stuff. So if I just click this down arrow here by Home, this is showing you all of the pages that already exist. It comes standard with Salesforce. And again, some of them we'll edit later on, but we're wanting to create a page called About Me, and notice it doesn't exist. So since we need to create one, we're just going to click New Page down here at the bottom. Now, is it just going to be a standard page, or is it going to be an object page? So standard page is you're going to be able to combine all the different objects and display different things the way that you want it. Where an object page is going to say, okay, what Salesforce object do you want to display, and are you going to display a detail list and or related pages, or all of them on a particular page? Well, we're just going to do a standard page. Now, what kind of layout do you want? Flexible, again, you can make your own. You can do a 1 column width, 2, how many columns do you want? Do you want them split? I like to do flexible. I'm going to say next, and you have to name it. So again, this is the About Me page, so I'm just going to call it About Me. Notice the URL does not allow spaces, so it'll put a dash anytime that you have a space in the name. You can leave the API name blank. It's more if you're doing Lightning Web Components or development, and so again, we're not really going to cover any of that, so we'll just leave that blank, and we'll go ahead and click Create, and it's going to give me a blank page. So again, I've got my template top, my bottom, this is my content, and my footer. So anything that I mess with on the top, the header, and the footer, that will affect every page in my site. So if I want something to show on every page, then I want to put something there. If I don't, then I need to make sure that I'm staying here in the middle. And again, this is just a very generic page that's going to talk about you in particular, you know, things that you like to do, whatever you want people to know about you. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a text box where you can just type in there. The way you do that is, one, you can either hit the plus sign, or you can click in there to make changes. But we're going to click over here on the components. So these are all of the things that come standard that you can drag into here and display on your particular page. And they have it broke out by different types of components. So it's analytics, content, feeds. If you're dealing with files, there's your gamification. If you want to put a flow onto your digital experience page, you can. If you give them the ability to create records or see records from the system, you do that. Things specific to sales and support, and topics. Also, if you had custom apps that had been loaded into your Salesforce, and they had different things that were available to be shown in a digital site, you would see that down here at the very bottom. So we're going to just scroll right back up here. And under content, we want this rich content editor. And all you're going to do is click and drag it over to this column and let go. Then it's going to pop up this box. You can click edit here, or you can double click down here. Sometimes you have to click more than once. Highlight it and start typing whatever you want. So think of this as like a word editor where you can type, and you can highlight it, you can change the size and the font, and and the color. You can also insert links or pictures or videos. So again, just put whatever you want, something about you. And notice that there's no save on the page. You do have an undo and a redo, but there's no save. So it's automatically saving when you click out of something. So let's go ahead and we'll create our next page. And it's going to be standard, we'll do flexible, and it's going to be for certification. And it'll be basically the same thing. We're going to do rich content. We'll upload some pictures. Now when you do images, you have an asset library that it stores things in, and if you don't have anything in your asset library, you'll have to upload it. I'll go ahead and click upload, and you can go find it on your computer. And again, just like in Word, you can make them bigger or smaller. I just click on the image and get in the corner. And I'll just keep resizing it. And again, you play around with this, design it however you want. I could have done different columns and talked a little bit about when I got, the different certifications or what I had to learn, or you can do links to the Salesforce page to talk about it. So notice I've already uploaded my admin one. I just had to click that, go back and say, okay, I want to add that one. So again, go ahead and just create this page on however you would like it to be, to talk about the certifications that you have. Again, they don't have to just be Salesforce certifications. They can be other certifications. Now we're going to go to our experience page. So we're going to create another new page. And I'm at experience. And again, here's where you're going to talk about what experience do you have from all of your jobs or schooling in the past. Everybody's got experience, something that they can list that is going to be useful in any job that you take. So once again, I want to go ahead and get my rich content editor going. I'm just making up stuff. Just copying and pasting off the internet. So again, build out your experience. You could also do a projects page. The other one I like to have is like resources where you can drive people to other pages to say, here's how I learned how to do a lot of stuff, and these are great pages, not only to help others, but also to help you in case you remember or can't remember where you learned something. I'm trying to figure out if this research page already exists. If you like to write HTML code, you could drag the HTML editor over there and write your own code. Once you create some topics, we can do custom topic recommendations in a carousel. We're going to do tabs in a different page. We'll do a tile menu at the beginning just so that you can see how that works. And again, if you know how to write and create visual force pages, you can also put some of those on your site as well. Let's actually do a tab for this resource page. So I'm going to go ahead and drag tab to my content. Automatically gives me 3 tabs. So I can just click up here and I can rename them, call them whatever I want. Of course, Trailhead is always a great place to send people to learn stuff. Anytime you see this button that says publicly available, you have to think about how you're building your site and who it's for. If you're building it where you want the client and or your internal employees to have to log into the page to see the information and not use a guest account, then this would not be publicly available. If you're building this as a portfolio site that you want potential employers to look at, you need to make this publicly available because they're not going to log in to your digital experience site. They're just going to go to the site and start looking at it, and they don't want to waste time having to create an account and log in. So in order for that page to show for them, again, you need to click that publicly available button so that anybody that logs in or is a guest can see that particular page. I'll go ahead and save that. Notice it will update my page or tab header here and also on the tabs. And again, just start adding whatever resources that were helpful to you. And you can add more tabs here. If you don't want a tab, you can come here and delete it. You can rearrange tabs just by dragging them around. So now again, I'm highlighted on the Trailhead tab. So here underneath of that, what information do I want to show here? So again, I can come back to my components and I can do a rich text content editor, and I can drop in now I do have the link button here, and I could have just typed it out as a link, but the reason I'm not is if I add the link here, I have the ability that I can say, have this open in a new window. If not, it's going to take them away from my portfolio page. And I may not want them to leave my portfolio page. I just want them to be able to jump to that website and keep a tab open with my portfolio. And so this is going to be the way that we'll do that. So go ahead and say OK. Notice it drops it in there with a link. And again, same thing. You can highlight all this, make it larger, smaller, or do any changes that you want to do. But when you're ready for your next tab, you just click on the next tab over here. And you'll have to do the same thing because, again, now it's a blank page for that particular tab. And you'll just so I'll go ahead and put my link. And then I can just click outside of it so I can see all my tabs. And if you start adding too many tabs and they're really long, you'll get to the end. It's just going to create a more with the drop down and you'll be able to see more tabs. And again, you don't have to have rich content on all of them. You could have something different on every tab. But again, since I'm using this as my resource page, I'm just making them all the same. All right. I'm going to create one called Resume. On this particular one, we want it to be a little bit different. We're going to do some tasks on it. We're just going to leave this one as a placeholder for now, and I'll go into a different video that talks about how we're going to upload tasks from within Salesforce to show here. Same with there's already a report section. These are for reports that are created within Salesforce that you want to show on the page. I actually want to also show you a little bit about some Tableau pages. If I don't have Tableau loaded here, so I'll do that in a separate video as well to show you how Tableau will work. And then we'll do another one that talks about the knowledge base and the chat within the system. So at least for now, we have our pages set up. But if I'm on the home page, the users don't know anything about it because they just have a blank home page. So we need to be able to edit this navigation menu. So if I just click on that, and we're going to edit the default navigation menu. Here's where you build what pages that you want. We don't actually need a support page unless you want to leave it there as a contact us page. But I'm actually going to remove it, and I'm just going to say add menu item. Notice you have different types. So you can add an event. You can have it jump to an external URL. It could do a global action, such as create a new account or case or different things if you give them these permissions to do a global action. You have a menu label, a navigational topic, which we haven't created any topics yet, a Salesforce object, so if you want to actually show, cases or accounts or something from within Salesforce, and how do you want it to show and which particular items do you want to display. A system link, where it goes to one of these places within Salesforce, or the actual one that we're going to use is a site page, because remember, we've built all of these pages in our digital experience. So I want to add my About Me page. And again, it needs to be publicly available if you want users to be able to see it without having to log into the system. The other thing I can do is I can add an image, and that way if I do a tile menu, which we talked about a little bit, we'll probably do another video on the tile menu, the pictures that are shown here are what's going to actually display on the tile menu. So again, you're going to have to upload an image. And we'll just pick an image. And it just attaches it there. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add the next page. Oh, I forgot to change, so it defaults to new menu item. I do need to change that. This is my About Me page. This one's going to be my certification. And again, it's a site page, a certification. I'll just pick an image. My next one will be my experience. And again, you're going to want to be more thoughtful. I'm just grabbing pictures that I have on my computer. And I'll show you some sites probably in another video where you can get some fun backgrounds and pictures for, you know, all those Salesforce characters. And we'll do our project page. And resources. And again, we can always come back later and add and remove pages. I'll go ahead and picture here real quick. And again, you can rearrange them, but let's go ahead and save this. Notice now it fills out my navigation menu. I do have some other options here. So there's the app launcher that you're used to seeing in Salesforce. If they're an internal user, it might make sense to have that showing, but external users don't really need to see that, so I typically hide that. Also, if you don't like the word home, you can have a text or icon instead of text so that they can click on home. We'll do another video also that talks about how you can personalize this. So let's say that you're going to have more than one target audience using the same site. You could create different pages and have a different navigation menu based on their role or different things. So that might mean we have different sites based on state, because we have certain reports that are required by law that these states each need to see, and not all states are the same. So we didn't want to create, 50 different communities back in the setup. We wanted one community, but we needed to customize it for the different states, and so we can just personalize it and customize it from within here. So let's talk through some of this other things that we can change. So again, we're on the home page. we talked about the tile menu. So let's come over here to components and let's just drag a tile menu here. So you can see as I'm dragging, I've got this green bar. This is going to show, it's going to drop it in here. Do I want it above or below? I'll just drop it in. Asking, okay, what navigation menu do you want? I want the default, which this one right now is my default. Again, I can personalize it. I can make changes. So notice what it did is all those pictures that I had uploaded, it now made them as like buttons that I can click to jump to each of these pages. I can say right now there's a full with no overlay. I could do a full with an overlay, and look how it just makes the pictures and the wording a little bit different. Or I could do partial. So again, you just play around with whatever layout that you like. And again, on some of these, let's say you like this layout, but you're like, oh, it's cutting off part of my picture. Well, that just means you need to edit the size of your picture and make it smaller so that it shows on the button a little bit easier. We can also do a little bit of tile formatting. You could change the height, the background color, your border radius, your image color. If you don't want the drop shadow, you'd also change some of the text colors, the size of the text, and where the text is located. So I could have the text on the left side or the right side. And a lot of this will depend on like the pictures and the icons that you're using on where you want this displayed. But there is a little bit of customization that you can do right there. Let's see, what are some other components? You could add a calendar, a headline. Those are some of the quick, easy things that I would typically see that you would add real quick. Again, we'll talk about, you may want to change like the template header, or this particular image is not Salesforce related, so you might want to do a Salesforce header. I'll do that in a different video so that you can play around with making different banners and customizing them, adding your certifications or, your ranking or how many super badges you have or whatever you want, so that you can make this page about you and kind of show off a little bit of your personality. Let's talk a little bit more though. Right now we've just created it. It's just sitting out there, not really doing anything. So up here in the upper right hand corner you have this option where you can preview. Preview is just going to show you what it looks like to the end user if you actually published this and had it live today. Right now I'm previewing it on a desktop. I could also change it and say, okay, if they're on their mobile device, what's it going to look like? So that you can kind of get an idea of what it looks like on a mobile device versus what it's going to look like on a tablet. I can't really do anything here. I mean, I can click and go to the About Me page, but some of these others, like when we were on the resources page, if I try to jump to another website, it's not going to work just because I'm in preview, and it's only going to let me preview things that are specific to my site. So to get back to make changes, I need to click this button up here to go back to Builder. So again, I told you we've created it, but it's not out there ready for anybody to see or do anything with. In order for that to happen, we need to publish it. So you see this publish button. So any changes that you've been making in the background, Salesforce is tracking all those changes to say, okay, here's everything that you've changed that's not out there on your real site. So as soon as I hit publish, and I'll go ahead and just publish it, it's saying, okay, here's the portfolio website name, and you're going to publish this. We're going to go ahead and publish, and then it's going to do a pop-up, and it will tell you that it's going to send you an email once everything's done. If you just did one or two changes, you'll probably have the email within a minute. Since this is the first time that we've published it and we put quite a few pictures and added some pages and things, it could take probably 10, 15, 20 minutes for it to send me an email to say that it was actually published. But while that's publishing, let's go back over here to set up to our digital experience site. I just want to let you know, here's the URL. So if you wanted to tell all your friends about your new portfolio that you just created and have them look at it. Or actually, I suggest putting it on LinkedIn so that everybody on LinkedIn can actually come and see things that you've been working on. And, you know, if you want to push them to here because it's Salesforce driven. So again, they're showing off some of the knowledge and experience that you have in building different things in Salesforce. So again, this is the website that you're going to give to them. It's also the website that you can just click on if you want to jump to it to view it real quick and see what it looks like as well. So again, this is live. So now if I go to resources and I click on Trailhead, it should actually open up Trailhead in the new tab because we told it to open in the new tab. So I still have my old tab open. So here we've got a very basic, very quick portfolio that we've created and that it's out there. So again, keep watching. I'll have other videos going in showing you a few more things on how to do specific things to add some more functionality that's available. Things that I didn't know when I created my portfolio set. I just added pictures and text and links. It's very basic. And then when I actually got my first administrator job and got in and started seeing how my company was using the community or digital experiences, it was way different. And a lot of things I had never seen or heard of or even thought of. So I kind of want to showcase some of that to you guys as well. But again, we'll do that in another video.